everyone, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we're taking a look at the third wave of Power Rangers Beast Morphers action figures. This video has been a long time coming because I had these four for a while and I couldn't find a silver anywhere, but hey, I finally found a silver. So now we can take a look at the whole wave. I wanted to wait till I had the entire wave to do the video. I keep thinking to myself that this is the second wave, but technically the second wave was Roxy and Jax. It was a very small wave, but that is technically wave 2, so that makes these guys wave 3. So we're getting gold, silver. We're getting the Red Fury mode for the Red Ranger, which is a pretty cool new mode here. US made mode, which is pretty awesome. Then we also get Evox, who is crazy heavy. He keeps knocking all the other packages over. I don't know why, but this guy, I'm getting Visionary vibes from this guy with the chest, and he has the staff as well. Just put a hologram in there, and he's basically a Visionary. And then we have Drilltron, who looks pretty cool. He's just like a Monster of the Week type dude. So they all come with Morph X keys. Of course, we'll take a look at that in the Morpher as well. Really nice artwork. I always like the packaging for Beast Morpher toys. Very, very cool. So let's go ahead. Let's get these 5 out of the packaging. See what I mean? Just ridiculously. He's going to be a giant chunk of plastic. In any case, hold on. Dominoes! All right, let's get these guys out of the box and take a closer look. Before we dive into the figures, I wanted to kind of bring the card backs real quick. Because once you remove the bubble, you can really get a good look at the beautiful artwork. I mean, the Silver Ranger looks fantastic. I think it's funny that he's depicted here with the sword, even though the figure does not come with the sword, but I just wanted to show off this card art really quick because it really is spectacular. Evox looks pretty good. Drilltron is one of my favorites. The card art looks really, really cool. I like that a lot. And then, of course, the Red Ranger there looks fantastic with this sword. So I just wanted to show that off real quick because the art is really neat once you remove that bubble packaging, which is in the way. So here are the 5 new figures. I think they all look great. I really do. This is the new, what is this thing called again? Fury mode, I believe. I can't even look on the, hold on, I gotta find the bubble. Red Ranger Red Fury mode. So there you go. I really like the sword. It's all molded in red, but then they painted this like sky blue for the blade. Now, unfortunately, mine's already chipping in a few spots. But I do appreciate that they painted it, and I think it looks really good. And the little cheetah head is actually molded really nice. You can see there. You can see the Morpher is molded very nice, nicely painted. I mean, I can't believe we have such intricate paint detail on these things. Really, really nice. I like the armor. This is really just kind of a like soft plastic over top of the normal body. I think it's the normal red torso and helmet with just this kind of plastic harness over top. But I don't think you can take it off. It's molded on top of there. It looks really good, though. And then he's got the giant cheetah claw, which just clips on. Very similar to the way that the morph keys clip on. So you just go ahead and clip that onto his arm. And then down here you can see he's got this thigh armor. And he's got these big gray boots that I actually think look pretty cool. Unfortunately, you can see that his hips are a little loose, which is kind of a bummer. I'm wondering if it's kind of mold degradation just from, you know, pumping out so many of these things. It's not terrible like floppy noodle syndrome, but you can see it's a little loose. Like when you shake it, it's not too bad, but because of that, he's having a little bit of trouble standing up. But I find if you kind of like put one leg forward, one back, it distributes the weight kind of evenly. I mean, that's a pretty cool pose. I like that. So he looks good. I'm going to put him off to the side for a moment. We'll take a look at Silver. I'm really excited. I've always really liked the design and color scheme for Silver's suit, so I'm really happy to finally have a figure for this guy after so many years. Really, really sharp. I wish he came with the normal sword instead of this weird, I don't know what this thing is. Weird, like, grabber claw. I mean, it doesn't move at all. It's just a stationary weapon, but I guess to grab... Could grab a villain, maybe. Can it grab Drilltron? Probably not. He's probably too wide. Yeah. He foiled again! Anyway, I get that. So I think that's what it's supposed to be. Maybe on a Tronic, you could like grab it by the waist and throw it around. So, I mean, for that, maybe. I mean, I understand they want to do something a little different just instead of packing the same weapons over and over again, but a little bit of paint maybe might have made it seem a little bit more impressive. But it's just molded in light gray. So put that off to the side. The rest of silver looks great though. I mean, the helmet looks fantastic, beautifully painted. You have the shoulder pads, you have the little, I forget what that thing's called. It's the thing that they use to contact the base to teleport their weapons. It has a name, but I can't remember it. And the blue, you can see there's a little bit of like paint bleeding down here onto the foot. But this side's a little better. So anyway, articulation, if you're familiar with the Beast Morpher figures, it's pretty much the same as the ones from the previous waves. Head's on a ball joint and goes side to side, up and down. Shoulders spin around, out to the side. You can see the shoulder pad does not get in the way, which is really nice. I like how they did that. Spin at the elbow as well as an elbow bend. Wrist is molded. The forearm down is one solid piece. Nothing in the waist. Because he's a hero, he gets out to the side leg movement. He can kick forward. Then he just stops dead because of a butt flap. A little plastic on mine's a little janked up there, but knee can swivel as well as bend, and then from that down there's no boot, cuff, swivel, or ankle or anything like that. It's just one solid piece. But also comes with the Morpher for gold and silver, which is pretty nice. There's a little bit of paint there on the handle. Nicely detailed, pretty intricate there for the molding. But yeah, it's a pretty solid figure. I like it. Gold's very similar. He's got the thigh armor, and his boots are a little bit more built up. Now the funny thing is, with Gold's... No, I thought these were loose. I'm thinking of the Lightning figures, I think. The Lightning collection, these are loose. These straps, they're molded on here. Same with his. He does come with the sword. This is the same sword that came with Steel. So if you have the sword from Steel, you could take it and give it to, the Silver Ranger. This almost looks like it's hollow, like, because the blade, like shrinks down and then flips in. That's how it transforms back into a steering wheel. I don't think we've seen that on the show yet. We've seen them use the sword. I don't think they've ever shown it as a steering wheel, because I don't think we've really seen them in the cockpit of their Zords too much, but hopefully we will eventually. But again, beautiful detail, beautiful paint. All very sharp. He's got the exact same articulation. All three of the Rangers have the same articulation. So very nice. These guys, though, I will say they're a little, especially with the weapons, they're a little top heavy. And because I feel like, and this is going to sound dumb, but the butt is so pronounced and the legs are so forward that it makes them naturally want to lean forward, and then with the weight from the weapons and stuff, they naturally fall forward. I feel like this should be just moved back slightly to be a little bit more in center of the body. Like just maybe move it back to like here. And it might help with this issue, because as it stands, I kind of have to like bend their knees a little bit so that they're kind of like leaning backwards just to balance. It's a little weird. It's not a huge problem, but I do feel like they're probably going to be more prone to falling over. I don't remember having this issue with the first wave or the second wave. So I don't know. I don't think it's changed, but it does seem to be prevalent with all three of the Rangers in this wave. So it's a little weird, but it's not a huge problem. But I do feel like it kind of makes them want to fall forward. Let's move on to the villains. Drilltron, I think, looks great. Really nicely molded, great detail. Paint scheme, pretty nice. Paint applications are pretty good. He's got this like 4-drill arm brace thing. You can take this off if you want. It just clips over the arm. But it's, nicely molded, nicely detailed. No paint. But it's got the 4 drills there. This comes packaged like this. I think it's literally just for space. So you want to push them forward when you take it out of the packaging. But I'll move them to the side just so you can see the face a little bit better. It's a pretty cool molded face. I like it. Simple, but pretty cool. And the head is on a ball joint, so you can go up and down, side to side. Like I said, you can move these around. He does have normal arms. Now the shoulder pads do hinder the movement a little bit, but that's pretty normal there. Elbow swivel for the arm as well. Again, forearm is one solid piece. Nothing in the waist. The hips, because he's a villain, he has no outside, out to the side movement. He just has forward. And it almost looks like the legs are solid, but he actually does have knees, and he can swivel at the knee. He's just got these massive knee pads, which are nicely painted silver. I can't really complain about them. He's got this crazy, gigantic, like, rotating drill Gatling gun looking thing. This thing is gnarly. I don't know what's going on with this. But that bends, has a normal elbow joint swivel as well, so you can move that, and then you can put this thing back on. So he's drilled up. He's got some drills, and they're all nicely painted, like even all the little ones on his chest, everything there. So it's a pretty cool figure. He's definitely bulky. He feels weighty, especially like in the top. But he stands pretty decently, I have to say. Kind of stands the best of everyone here, which really doesn't make any sense. And then here is Evox. Definitely an interesting design. You can see he's got some like cords hanging out the back, kind of look like dreadlocks. Head can move a little bit up and down, a little bit side to side, but not a ton. He does have normal shoulders, but unfortunately his shoulder pads are so massive that they can't really bend at all. I mean, they can rotate no problem, but the up and down, in and out movement, I mean, it's there, it's just you can't, this immediately hits the chest. His elbows are normal. Not quite 90 degrees, but it can move and it can swivel. Nothing in the waist, because he is a villain. Now out to the side, but he can kick forward. But again, his skirt gets in the way, and then he has normal knees. So unfortunately, like, bending at the knee is kind of the most articulation that he has. And I don't want to say he doesn't have the other articulation, but because of how bulky he is, everything else is hindered. So the skirt hinders the hips. The shoulder pads hinder the shoulders. So basically, elbow and knee is where you're going to get most of your articulation. How big the head is hinders head movement. The staff is kind of a boring, plain, light gray. I wish that had a little bit of paint. I think the one we saw at Toy Fair had paint on it, and then I guess they just put it into the figure instead. So no paint applications on the staff, unfortunately. So yeah, I definitely think the figure looks good. Like I said, the staff's just a little disappointing, but everything about how he looks is great, and he's definitely weighty. I mean, he feels very solid. That's why the package kept falling over, and I was trying to get it to stand earlier. Like, you can see the knees down are one solid piece, and they're big chunks. It's just a shame that so many of the things that make him look awesome also hinder the articulation. But, yeah, maybe just a little bit more paint on the head, because there's some nice detailing there that just kind of gets lost because it's a yellow plastic. Maybe a little black wash up there might bring that out. And I wish the staff was a little better, but I mean, honestly, I really think the figures are pretty solid. For $10 a piece, I can't really complain. I think they look pretty fantastic, and I definitely recommend them. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Morphex keys in the Morpher. So here's the Morpher with the 5 new keys. I'm going to move these off to the side. We'll start with Drilltron. Make sure this is turned on.
Prepare to lose, Rangers. I'll drill right through you. Prepare to lose, Rangers.
So that's not bad. Pretty decent phrases there. Go ahead and try to transform.
Prepare to lose, Rangers. Are you ready? Say it's morphin' time.
It's morphin' time. So you get that evil transformation jingle.
I'll drill right through you. Prepare to lose, Rangers. Not today, Rangers. I'll drill right through you.
So, not too much going on with the transformation, but each key basically gives you 2 new phrases, so pretty cool for Drilltron. Let's go ahead and try Evox next. Alright, settle down, you.
Let's go! Nothing can stop me.
That's kind of cool. He's even got kind of like a raspy snake voice.
Not today, Rangers. Nothing can stop me. The Morphex is mine. Nothing can stop me.
Not too bad. Pretty cool. Alright, next up we'll go with the Red Fury Mode key. Did that work?
Yeah, we clocked it. Unreal. Rangers, it's go time. Let's go. Unleash the beasts. Unreal. Yeah, we clocked it.
So apparently Unreal and yeah, we clocked it. Not the best. Alright, let's move on to Gold.
Gold Ranger power. Phenomenal. Gold Ranger power. Rangers, it's go time.
See what happens when we transform with him.
Are you ready? Say it's morphin' time.
It's morphin' time.
Let's go. Unleash the beasts. Gold Ranger power.
So it doesn't really sound like there's any new phrases for being transformed as Gold Ranger. I was wondering if there would be, because I don't think they're making a toy of Gold and Silver's Morpher other than the Nerf gun version that they've already done, but that doesn't really have any sounds in it, so I was wondering if there would be something for Gold and Silver in here, but not really any more than you'd expect. So let's go ahead and pop in Silver.
I'm half human, half robot, and totally awesome.
I feel like we've heard that before, but that sounds nothing like Steel.
Beast Morphers, let's go. I'm half human, half robot, and totally awesome.
I love the, like, you know, robot sound. Like if someone was doing a bad robot impersonation.
Rangers, it's go time. Let's go. Unleash the beast.
Come on, give me the phrases.
I'm half human, half robot, and totally awesome. Beast Morphers, let's go.
So that's kind of hysterical. I think Steel's key, Silver Ranger's key works. That's the wins the lot. Drilltron's was actually pretty good, and Evox I thought was pretty good. I have to say, unfortunately, Gold and Red Fury mode, not really that great. I think Red Fury modes were the most boring. But the keys look great. I mean, should take a minute to actually look at these keys, because the molding in the paint is actually pretty cool. Oh, yeah, he's turning off. He's being loud. This one's kind of simple, but I still think it looks neat. I don't know what's going on with this. This almost looks like they like remolded slightly like one of the other keys, because it definitely looks like it has an animal face here in the front that they just didn't paint. So I don't know, but I mean, do these look like a mantis or a scarab? I don't think they do. But then again, neither one of them looks like a mantis or a scarab to begin with, because they're beetles. But anyway, keys are pretty cool. Sounds are decent. I actually think the villains have the best sounds out of everybody. So I think these figures are really great. Nice detail, nice paint applications for the most part. Articulation's great. I mean, getting a 6-inch figure with this amount of articulation for $10, I think, is definitely a steal. Can't really complain there. The accessories are on point. Like I said, the only thing I really have to complain with, I always wish the villains had out to the side hip articulation. That's been a problem since the first wave, but not so much of a problem that it prevents me from enjoying the figures. Evox has a lot of bulky armor that hinders his articulation in spots. Again, not a huge problem because he kind of just, has a command presence. He doesn't, I don't know how much hand-to-hand fighting he'll actually be doing in the show. So it might be cool to just have him kind of lord over his minions. You don't really need a lot of articulation in that case. The Rangers seem to want to fall forward a lot, and like I said, the hips just seem like they're a little bit too far to the front, which kind of naturally makes them front heavy. And then when you put the accessories in their hands, it just gives them more weight to fall over. So just a little tricky to navigate that, but again, not a huge problem, just something to be aware of. But overall, like I said, for the price, I think these figures are pretty phenomenal, and I really like all 5 of them, so I highly recommend them. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.